Art of Rhyming, episode 30. Just because you rhyme doesn't make you an artist. And we have an artist on our hands, for sure. Art Morera, Miami mainstay. About to invite him on the live. Multi-talented dude. We're going to get right into it. If I... Peace, Art. We got the wolves in the house. Let's... Been having technical difficulties. This live. Stand by. Is that Mowgli under the Watch Wolves account? Jordan Wolfpack, thank you for joining. Technical difficulties with the live. Thank you for joining, Adept. There we go. Finally. Peace, Art. How are you?
What's good, man? How are you?
Man, IG Live is kicking my ass the last few interviews, bro. The last few interviews, I actually couldn't even see the person. It came out on the video, and the user, anyone that was in the live could see, but not me. So yeah.
Man, Instagram got to get it together.
Yeah, are you having challenges too when you go on live, or?
Well, I don't really go on live too often, but nah, I haven't had any issues on my end.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Let me invite a couple people.
Yeah, sure.
I know.
You mind if I do the same?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, for sure. Ready? Go.
Do it.
Oh, yeah, maybe not.
All right. Anyways, so yeah, man. How was your day?
My day's been well, man. I enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? Busy, and it's actually starting to get pretty cold. It was pretty brick outside. Yeah.
Where are you at these days? Because you're originally from Miami, but where are you at now?
Well, I'm saying I'm currently in Manhattan, but I stay like right in Jersey, right across the bay from Manhattan. Like you could take a ferry from where I'm at to the city.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get into that. I feel it's worthy to give you an introduction just before we get into all this. I wrote a crazy outline for this. I'm sure we're going to go off script, but yeah, I want to give you an introduction. So this is Art Morera, Miami mainstay in the underground hip hop scene. Let me know if I'm calling it fair. I'm from Toronto, by the way. I know a lot about the Miami scene, a lot more than I should, but let me know how I'm doing. Self-described alternative hip-hop artist. You just dropped your brand new album, Vanessa, at the beginning of the week. I think it's a classic. I think everyone should peep it. I think I know what constitutes a classic at this stage. Open road music, I'd call it, and you wrote it on the road. We're going to get all into this. I'm just giving people the outline. I think your last 4 projects are incredible. If you haven't peeped Art's music, please start with his last 4. I'd recommend. And I'll just say, generally speaking, a lot of people telling me you're one of the top Miami lyricists, a lot of your peers. and you really live what you talk about, and to me, it comes out in your music. And I'm definitely gonna get into what I like about your music as well, man.
Thank you,
So
man. May I say something real quick before we continue?
yeah, of course.
Dr. Volk, what up? Do you see Dr. Volk on your screen? I don't know if this
Yo, what up? Peace to the gods.
Peace.
this is
The,
Dr. Volk, ladies and gentlemen, one of my good friends.
how, is he in the room with you,
Yes, he
or how do
is.
you, okay, gotcha.
I
I
don't
thought he
know.
ambushed the live.
Yo, somehow the gods made their way. I love this, man. Life is cool, man. All right.
Yeah, man.
What's up, Volk?
So,
Yeah, let's keep going.
and Mowgli's in the house. Dope. So yeah. So are you originally from Miami?
Yes, I am.
So what was it like growing up in Miami? I know like you had your album Transit City. I believe it was like 2019 or something. So I have an idea what it was like for you through your music, but I want to ask you directly. You know, what was like life like growing up in Miami for you?
Hot and
It's a good way of putting it.
yeah, hot. Air conditioning, few and far in between, but
Oh
they're
shit.
appreciated. Let me see what else. Man, busy. It was dope, man. I love Miami. It has its own unique brand of magic. Yeah.
Right. So getting a bit further into it, I'm gonna start a bit random. Somebody told me that this is really random. I want to get out of the way because I don't know where else to put this in. But I understand that your dad trained jujitsu under the Gracies. Is this correct, or am I hearing things?
Well, he never trained under the Gracies, but he trains you know martial Japanese jiu-jitsu, uh,
Okay.
uh, karate. He has like it's like every martial art. He's dedicated a certain amount of time and
Wow.
build the rank and absorb the knowledge. And
Yeah.
yeah, all his life. So all my life, that was what my dad was doing.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm a big MMA fan. Mowgli actually told me this that he trained with the Gracies. Maybe he means he trained jujitsu. Maybe I didn't get his fate, but I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I
He
was pretty
trained.
excited to bring it up.
Well,
So
like, have you ever heard of Moses Powell?
no, I haven't.
Word, yeah, yeah. Dr. Moses Powell, you know what I'm saying, trained with the gentleman that my dad trained with, you know, and it's like that's the branch.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. That's dope. That's dope. So getting back to your work, man, I really enjoyed watching your rollout for Vanessa, because in fact, I feel a lot of artists in my peripheral or that I follow, they don't really have a rollout in terms of content, and you got plenty of video, like to cover the whole week, it seems like, and it seems like you embrace like long form video, so to speak. I'll call it long form for today's climate. Um, and I wanted to ask you a question. Why is it important for you to document your life on video like this? I mean, you do it on music. Why is it important to tackle video like this?
Um, I feel like I have a great appreciation for movies, for cinema,
Right,
and and I understood early on that uh, to pursue being a hip hop artist, uh, video is necessary.
right,
It's almost like you need a camera more than you need a microphone.
right.
And I mean, I always had an appreciation for the craft of making cool looking movies, and so I bought a DSLR. And then when you start documenting your life with that camera, you just kind of point the camera and play with it, and everything looks like a movie. Your the books you have stacked on a table, and you play with the lens, and you
Hmm.
see how it focuses from the foreground. Then you see the focus like travel towards the background, and it just kind of uh, just it just kind of brought to life that phrase like, "Oh, my life is a movie," right?
Yeah,
But so then you know you start looking at your life kind of like that way because the things that happen in life is what they write movies about,
yeah, yeah.
you know. So yeah, I just wanted
So
to
Lendor
document my life because of that.
Lendor is saying this dude is mad talented. I don't know if you just learned of him through my platform, but indeed, I agree, very talented dude. So on the video front, are you self-trained?
Yeah, I'm so for the most part, like, you know, like when I first got it, my camera, and I started to, you know, get the whatever lens I could afford. I hollered at a couple people that I knew that did it, just to kind of pick their brain, and they were down to put me on game on certain things. I would say like a big influence that I had early on was this video director in Miami, who in my opinion is the best video director down there. Is Giancarlo
Okay.
Lafredo, right? And this man, the way that this is not just, it's not just pointing your camera at something, but it's more so like understanding what the aesthetic is,
Right.
and then turning the visual that you're doing for the person into like a whole experience with the color palette and blah blah blah, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I started to look at things kind of that way. You watch a movie now, and it kind of starts to make more sense why things are how they are.
Yeah.
So,
Like where things are positioned in the shot and stuff like that,
yeah,
for the shot to
that
make sense.
the colors, the lighting, the movement, the mood, like it's a wild medium, you know. And you start looking at like what made your favorite music videos what they are, like
Yeah.
your favorite music videos, just they were just done so well that it's like, man, I want my music videos to look like that.
Yeah.
And then you holler
What?
at someone to do it, and it's like $20,000 for a video. You're like, I'm just gonna
Oh
watch my
yeah.
tutorials and try to figure this out.
Mowgli is a big fan of your video. I know you do his videos. We're going to get into that in a moment. So I know he appreciates your skills and talent for sure. Wanted to ask you, like, what do you think constitutes a good shot? Is it the same thing for every video, every person behind the camera, or do you think there's something that sets you apart in terms of what you think constitutes a good shot or a good scene?
Um, uh, I don't know. That's I feel like uh, if you if everything is handheld and gets all shaky,
Yeah.
it's kind of disorienting for the viewer, and it makes it less enjoyable. Like, and if you're gonna put the camera on a tripod, at least frame it up well. You know, like play with maybe the shot. Maybe you want the shot to be symmetrical, so you frame it where the center is like in between, you know, in the middle of something, whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's just I feel like sometimes I just like I get. It's like it's kind of like being a skateboarder. Like
Yeah.
you want to be able to skate anything. Like
Yeah.
I don't care where I'm at. I'm just gonna be. I have my camera with me, and I'm gonna try to build a good
Freestyle,
frame
kind
here.
of.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I watch your video. I've watched a lot of your video, your more documentary type stuff for your projects, your music videos. I feel like you always got a good shot, even the most simple shit. It's like saying something, you know what I mean? So I thought I'd ask. Um, Getting back to long form content, like, would you say you make long form content? And like, what do you think of people's tolerance for that today?
Word. Um, I do like long form content. Uh, I I understand why people make short term content, because it's almost like just having respect for the person that's watching your video. Like you don't want to draw them in and then force them to like wait for you to get to your point. You know, I understand why long form. I mean, short form content is like that, but I feel like the reason, like, you could just fast forward as well if you want to. If you want to skip like
Yeah, yeah,
a shot of something that's like 10 seconds, just I don't know, like it's just I just felt like leaving that clip for that long, and maybe I'll do a slow zoom in, and it'll
yeah,
it's just it's an interesting medium, bro. Like I love it, but I also uh like try not to be like too tech scientific with it. I just kind of try to see the beauty in everything. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, no, I think you capture it. I mean, I'm a fan of it. In fact, what I do on my show, it's kind of a throwback to the past, so to speak. You know, I like to focus on a couple artists at a time, go to their music, learn about them. You know what I mean? So it aligns very much with what you do with video. You know what I mean? So I personally enjoy it, um, but thought I'd ask.
Or
So getting to how I first learned about you, I actually heard you feature on a couple tracks. I think one of them was Crab Bisque with Shoddy, Falling Down with Mowgli. H tried to put me on to you as well. So I actually interviewed both Mowgli and Shoddy. Thought I'd ask you, what do you think they mean to the Miami hip hop scene?
that's a great question. Word, you said Mowgli and Shotty. So let's start with Mowgli. That's cool, man. I feel like, so like in my opinion, right? Mowgli, the way like his rapping feels the most like Miami to me.
Right.
There's hundreds of rappers in Miami, and there's a lot of cats that have that, like, you know, they got the slang, they got the grit, they have the raspiness, they have the, like, it's just like the pitch goes up at the end of the bar. It's kind of like, and all that it contributes to Miami sound. But to me, Mowgli, his music, the way he raps, feels the most like Miami to me, right?
Yeah.
And Shoddy, I feel like 20 years ago was saying the dopest shit on mixtapes.
20 years ago.
Like
That's crazy.
I still remember punchlines from him from when I first got into Miami hip hop.
Wow.
And he was in the crew that he was in. Y'all burn so many trees before I get in the booth. I'm getting death threats from environmentalist groups. I only break cheddar with crew. Son, I gotta lay on my stomach just to level with you. Like, just he had this like slick. It was just slick, and the wordplay was there. And so it was just dope, man. To like, to be put on to what he was doing back then, and it's just, I just feel like he never lost his he never lost that, like, the ethos of like the Shoddy that we all kind of came up on, and so I don't know, I feel like he instills hope in Miami hip hop.
That's amazing.
Like Mowgli's the heart and Shoddy's like the hope.
Yeah. The crazy thing about Mowgli, right? Because I got pretty deep into his life story when I interviewed him. It was a long interview. I enjoyed his music thoroughly. Is learning he's from Germany, right? And he came in, I guess, in his mid-teens, late teens. And you're saying he sounds more Miami than, you know what I mean, than anyone else. That's pretty impressive. You know what I mean?
It's pretty wild, but yeah.
Yeah. And Shoddy, I've been following him the last 2 years. I've only known him about 2 years, but definitely thoroughly entertained by his music, man. So, so you and Mowgli are part of the same Miami collective, right? Is it Watch Wolves?
Yes.
Or is it the Wolves? Watch Wolves.
Watch Wolves. Right.
So can you list off who's in that group? Who's in the collective?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's Money Mowgli, Mr. Belief, Joey Da Silva, Big G, and Art Morera. And then, of course, there are other wolves as well. KMH, Bantu. It's like, it's a big pack.
That's dope. Yeah, I'm familiar with them through going through Mowgli's catalog. Also follow a lot of them. I've been building with them on IG. Not everyone you mentioned, but yeah, dope. When did you join, and what compelled you to join that collective?
Well, from like 2004 or 2003 and onward, whenever I would hear these Dub P mixtapes, right, which was a earlier generation of the Wolves, right, I was always just like enamored by how dope they were. Like, they just, okay, like, you think of your favorite rappers, right, and why are they your favorite? Like, if you're an MC, your favorite rappers were likely like, Eminem and Biggie and Big Pun and Big L and the the spitters, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so but then you have Miami rap where you have Trick Daddy and JT Money and these guys that kind of are doing this version of hip hop, right? But like if I was a lyricist from back then and I valued like the craft of rap, and I felt like these guys were just the best at it. They understood they understood it, and everyone had their own style. They would just say like the dopest things, bro. Like I remember some things that probably they forgot they said. Like, so I feel like, I don't know, maybe I was looking for a tribe or something, because I feel like the style of rap that I do, the subject matter that I do when I write songs, are in the same branch as that. And not only just the MC aspect of it, but like me as a person, like, I don't know, I kind of always felt like a wolf, right?
Right.
And so yeah.
Dope.
Word up, watch wolves.
Dope. What does it do for your own craft working alongside an MC like Mowgli? I mean, Joey, there's a lot of talent there. What has that done for you since you joined the group, would you say?
Man, it's just made rap so much more fun. Like, and it's like a band of brothers, It's a band of brothers. Everyone is just the best, Like I listen to, like when I say the best, I mean like they produce raps that brings me the most joy to listen to.
Right.
And the fact that these are like, we've grown to be some friends, and like they're pretty much like my family. They're like my brothers. So when I hear something new from them, or like I'll holler at Mowgli, or like to jump on a track, or like I'm invited on a track, or I'll do something with Joey or Belief. It just kind of feels like, I don't know. I don't even know if I have the word. It's just magic, bro. Like it's just because I feel like the craft of rap is like the greatest. Like it's the great equalizer. Like one time Mowgli described rap as like the great equalizer, because it just doesn't matter what you look like at all.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter how tall you are, short you are.
You can look like Biggie. You know what I'm saying?
You could look like whatever you look like.
Yeah.
And the just words and their their definitions, and how there's so many of them, and how you can kind of bend them, like, so to be able to exhibit this passion for this medium with people that I feel like are so special at it is a blessing.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I peeped Crowbars an early, not the final version, near final, and that shit sounded like it was a lot of fun to make. That was Mowgli and Joey, right?
That's correct.
On that one, and
Yep.
It just sounded like it was a lot of fun to make. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't take themselves too seriously, but they're spitting like fire. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. It's fantastic. It is the hardest tape, like, and it's like people that were already fans of Watch Wolves, to get that is like, it's such a gem, bro. And like you hear the two completely different styles, but it's like they're having a conversation with each other. Like you could put that tape in your car and go for a drive, and it feels like you got them in the car with you, and they're talking and doing their thing while you're just listening and just focusing on the road. You know what I mean? And listening to what they have to say. It's just so dope, man. I love it. Yeah.
So going back to when I first kind of heard you, my first impression of you, we all have first impressions, right? You can't help it, right? We're all humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, he's a really dope technical rapper. Should I dive in? Should I not? I wasn't sure, because a lot of people reach out to me. I'm checking a lot of music, you know what I mean? You could probably imagine. But I'm really happy that I tapped in properly, because your last four projects, including Vanessa, to me they're like real works of art. They're incredible and they flow like seamlessly. You know what I'm saying? So from where I first heard you to where I'm at now, where I think you are, it's like amazing. You know, I wanted to ask you a question. You know, I think as artists, I had my time like pursuing it. What do you think about first impressions? Like, is that something that you care about? Is that something you care to master, or what's your thought, if you have any thought on it?
Man, I appreciate you saying that. First off, thank you, man. Uh, it means a lot. So my thoughts on first impressions are like I think people more often than not give off the wrong first impression because they may not be having the best day, right? But it is revealing because what your the first impression that they have of you is more so the attitude that you have, right? And I feel like that's in life. So if people were more forgiving of someone's first impressions, like that'll be cool. As far as you talking about, like with music, though, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, music, you can take it anywhere you want, but music was my original
word,
thought.
okay, heard up. That's interesting because I feel like uh, the more different you are, the more like every song is its own kind of thing. Uh, I don't know. It's just I don't want anyone to have any expectations when they hear what I have because I'll hear someone else's music and then the next time that I hear them, it's kind of like sounds a lot like the first one. Then the
Yeah,
third the
yeah,
third one sounds like the second one. The
yeah,
fourth one kind of sounds like the second one too, and it's just all this.
yeah,
If I shouldn't be able to just hear one of your songs and feel like I've heard them all. You know,
yeah.
so like I would only hope that someone's first impression of me is something that resonates with them in a positive way. I don't know,
Yeah, yeah.
because I accept that it's not for everyone, but for the ones that it is for, you know, good.
Dope, dope, dope. Enough said. So getting back to your videos, and back to Mowgli once again. He said he only does videos with you. I love the video for "On My Way to the Moon." That was my favorite video of yours, I think, that I've come across. He told me you like shoot video and like edit within 4 hours and you're done. Is that
Yeah,
true?
that's shout out to Morgan, man. It has been like that sometimes, but I'm way I don't know, like at one point it was like that, but then 4 hours turned into like 12 hours because I got to do something right after,
Right, right,
and
right.
then you things happen and like, oh yo my bad, I'll I got you by tonight, I promise. And then but if I had nothing else to do and nothing else got in the way, I can film something and then like be done with the music video within like 2-3 hours or so, you know. But it depends on the complexity of the editing too. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and On My Way to the Moon is the most complex video that I've ever
Is
done
it?
because it's all those. Yes, it was all those green screens. Like it was like an arts and crafts style video. Like
Right.
like the meteors are little rocks that I've kept with me from California, tied to a fishing string. And we're like dragging it
So,
across the green screen.
right.
You know what I mean? So that one we actually finished kind of fast too. Uh, but yeah, yeah.
So Mowgli is like same day delivery. So speaking of camera work, man, I caught wind that you actually were a cameraman for Drink Champs, which, by the way, to me is one of the most best things to ever happen to hip hop, in my opinion. As an
Word,
old school head, can you tell us more about what you did there and kind of what span of time you were there?
word. I mean, so yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh, well, when I came up on like my first like what I consider to be a really good camera, uh, I hollered at EFN who had already been doing it. This was like around 2015 or so. Like the first episode I did was well. Anyway, let me get there. I hollered at EFN. He said that he was open to let me film. So then he told me to holler at the dude who was responsible for doing, like, he was the head of the video, side of things. And we met up. It was cool. And then, all right, cool, I'll let you know. And then I got hollered at to film their first Snoop Dogg interview. So my camera was the shaky one.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And whatever, man, like, they used to film like at this store called the 8 and 9 store, and I just so happened to kind of live there like 4 blocks away. So I would be the first one there, and then like help set up, and we'll film, and then help break down, and then help edit some of the stuff, and yeah. But what I was really doing was paying attention to kind of how they did it all too. Like it was cool. Obviously, it was cool being in the room with like Miami legend. I mean, well, Miami legends, yes, but also hip hop legends, just kind of talking but then after seeing how they would set up and break down, I kind of took note and be like, I have a lot of this, my own version of this equipment myself, like, yeah. So then I started my own podcast after, but I was with them for like maybe like a year and a half, and yeah, it was a cool experience, man.
Did you think it would become what it became? Like, was it clear at that point when you were there?
What's your question?
Was it clear to you that it would become the platform, the show that it's become, like while you were there, or was it still kind of like growing at that point?
No, it was. I mean, I feel like it was already there. Like,
it was already there.
Yeah, gotcha. Like, I mean, it only, they've only become more legendary since that time. But that's about to be 9 years ago. Like, that's crazy to think about it. Yeah. They've been doing it for like a decade already, And wow. And my first episode was the Snoop Dogg, their first Snoop Dogg one. So, like, how much bigger in hip hop can you get from that? Like, true. As Snoop. So true. So yeah, I always So
going back a little further back in time, I saw back in the day, like 2012, you opened for Joe Budden, Royce the 5'9". You know what I mean? Who better to open for? Let me know if I got that right. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Interesting that you said that. You're like, I don't know how much research you did, but that's an interesting question. Yeah, I opened for Joe Budden and Royce the 5'9", like super long ago.
Do you remember what life was like back then?
Oh yeah, I do remember vividly. I got mad footage of it.
How would you describe life back then?
Word. I was driving a 1998 BMW. I was bouncing from job to job, and smoking and skateboarding, and I had a home studio, and I would go to like every single hip hop event, and sometimes I would cook the hot dogs and burgers at the venue for other nights, like when they had like an EDM party or something, or like a drum and bass party. Like they still need, So I was just kind of always around the venue scene, just kind of like when Rocky tells Mickey, like, and I just gotta be around it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, and so there was like maybe a handful of show promoters that would bring down headliners, and I would just apply to, I would holler at to like open up for damn near everyone, and and yeah, it's crazy. I was like in my mid-20s, and I was like, I know I'm not doing enough. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I feel like that was
do you still have contacts to this day from that point in time? Like people that are still active in music and doing things?
Music, yeah. I mean, I still have like maybe 2 or 3 friends from those days. Uh, as far as music, I mean, yeah, there's some cats that uh are actually a good amount of cats that are still active today from then, but I don't really follow what a lot of those guys are doing. It's all good. I mean,
Got it.
I do for some,
Got
but
it.
not really for all of them.
Got it. Got it. So you mentioned to me that you played a role in the resurgence, I believe you said, of the underground Miami hip hop scene. If I got that right, can you elaborate kind of what role you played or what contributions you put in?
Word. Well, shit. Um, Interesting. So back in those days, that Joe Budden, Royce da 5'9", those years, I would also throw a bunch of open mics and beat battles. Everyone was kind of trying to throw local shows. Everyone was throwing local shows. So like I would throw mad beat battles with this girl that I was with, uh, open mics, showcases, like because it's like it's providing a platform for not only oneself but for others to do their thing too, right? So I feel like over a decade ago I was super heavy on that, um, but a lot of people were, but that was something. And then uh, getting into doing videos, so all of a sudden cats were getting dope music videos that I happened to direct, you know.
Wow.
And then after working with Drink Champs, I did my own. I learned from them and did my own podcast called the Medianoche Podcast, which started like in 2018 or so. Uh, that was like 51 or 52 episodes, and I mean, there's so there's that, and then I feel like what else? It's crazy because like these interviews make me keep kind of going back there,
Right.
and I'm like, ugh, you know what I mean? Because it's like harping on it. But I want to say like the last major contribution, quote unquote, that I did was the impact that me deciding to start getting into rap beef did for the competitive aspect of Miami hip hop.
Rap beef. I was gonna kind of get into that high level. Um, you know what? Why don't you just elaborate on that actually,
Yo, would you
if you
be?
want to.
I mean, would you be down to like we can keep going in the order that you like?
No, no, no. Take it wherever you want to take it, bro. Go ahead.
Nah, I would rather. I mean,
Just keep going.
yeah. Let's just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, no, no worries, no worries. So look, what I like, I'm gonna get into more things I like about your music now. I feel like you get a lot of posturing in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? What I like about your music is you're like leveling with the listener. You know what I'm saying? You're not talking down to them. You're like sharing your thoughts, so the music is approachable, which is a good change of pace. And I feel you don't get that often enough in mainstream hip hop. Um, so yeah, and I feel like you've always been like this going back to like 2012. You know what I mean? Which is as far as back as I went in your Spotify. Um, so I want to ask you a question. I feel every MC that starts rapping, they kind of emulate other rappers at first. But I wanted to ask you, when did you like conclude that this is your approach that you want to take to rapping? Because I feel like not this is a uh, not an approach that everyone takes. So wanted to ask you that question.
Uh, when did I decide to approach rap the way that I did and do?
Yeah,
Your question?
like yeah,
Yeah, word. Okay. Yo, I was really big on underground hip hop, like backpack early 2000s hip hop.
right,
Rhyme Sayers, Def Jux, uh, like backpack rap, pretty much Lupe Fiasco.
yeah,
Because I feel like in my super early days, radio rap, gangster rap, all these other genres, as dope as they are, like I couldn't do it because I wasn't about that life in my early years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas backpack rap, it like spoke on things that I did experience. You know, a lot of it was visceral and like mental and cerebral, right? And a lot of them felt like language arts assignments.
Right.
Like they would, like Cannibal Ox's Pigeon, you know, birds of the same feather flock together, congested in a majestic street corner. That's, you know, it just feels like a language arts rap essay that was assigned to the artist.
Right.
It was the most creative expression branch of hip hop, you know. So even though I was super big on Tupac and Bone Thugs and Eminem and you know, Big Pun and so on, I feel like I was relating to and evoked more by underground backpack, like backpack rap. So like when I like when I decided to start pursuing rap and talking about my life, it seemed like the subject matter and the way that I would approach it kind of felt like it belonged over there, you know?
Right.
The metaphors, the personification songs, the you know, the storytelling, abstract story, like the woman with the tattooed hands, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that felt the most fulfilling to me to write.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to ask you is like you're pretty deep in the Miami hip hop scene, the underground scene. Um, Coming with a style like that, you know what I mean? It's kind of vulnerable. You're letting people know your thoughts. Do you feel like you're susceptible to getting a diss track thrown your way, you know, for what you rap about, for your approach? Because I think it's a pretty bold way, actually, to rap, to be honest. Plus, be in the middle of a scene. So,
Yeah. Well, I know what that's like. Like, I feel like transparency in rap music, you know, it's like you just own it. You own your experience, and when you own it, it stops feeling like it's a flaw.
right,
It starts to kind of just feel like it's the plot
right,
of the movie that is your life. And
yeah,
so you know, like what, like I self-deprecate like in my music like unashamedly. Like I have, you know, it's the therapeutic aspect of why I chose rap. And when you think that you're outing yourself, you're actually giving, more often than not, the audience, like the listener, more reasons to find you relatable than they already
right,
initially did.
yeah,
Your decision making, your insecurities, or what you're enthusiastic about, or your sense of humor, or your attention to detail. Man, I be looking at that too. I be peeping that as well. Yo, I feel that way. Damn,
yeah,
that happened to me too. Damn, that's crazy. I didn't see that coming. Oh, I like how he rhymed this with that. Oh, you know, I don't know. It's just so fun, man. It's the best.
yeah. And I think you're getting your hooks in with the right people that relate to your music. I think.
True. I mean, no, I'm grateful for that. Like, I feel like when someone doesn't, not so much relate, but when it doesn't appeal to a specific person, bro, like that's totally okay. You feel me?
Yeah,
Like if you know, like okay, you know, like matter of fact, there's some folks that I get along with that like I don't even bother trying to solicit my music to, because it's like they know that I do it, but like I'm almost being considerate of them because knowing that they're not really into that genre, or uh or it's just a completely different walk of life. But you know, thankfully, more often than not, I want to say like damn near all the time, uh I'll show someone my song nowadays and they'll be like, damn, okay, you
yeah,
know, and they find something to like about it, and it kind of breaks the wall down a little bit.
right. So on the flip side of that, you have a project. We don't have to go too deep into it, but 2021 called Murder Mountain, where you're talking about the Miami hip hop scene. You know, you got some diss tracks. We're not going to get into names. I'm not about controversy at all here, but yeah, it's like the reverse of like your subject matter. You're throwing some pretty pointed punchlines. Like skill level wise, I think you demonstrated a tremendous amount of skill. You know what I mean? We've all went through our battle rap phases, and I thought as diss tracks, you did a great job.
Thanks.
Do you care to get into the genesis of that album, or you want to keep it moving at this point?
Yo, you know what's interesting, right? Like, I feel like God is an MC himself, or God,
Explain.
or God's self, right? Because yo, we play with words, and sometimes words have more than two meanings.
Right.
And the beginning was the word. You know what I mean? And some things just be happening that become self-fulfilling prophecies. You know? So like, all right, I got you. That is my I'm prefacing my answer with saying that. So yo,
No worries.
so after I dropped I Was Here and Time Away, right? I dropped these two albums like within 30 days of each other, but I had been working on both of them for like years, right? I've been working on both of them for years, and I was so proud of doing that and what I went through to arrive at that point. It's a long story. So then during that time, I was like, man, it's just time to start writing some more songs, right? So I started writing a song. Oh, whatever. I write a song, and then I send Mowgli a track, and and he writes to it. It's called "Born, Live, Die." Right? I love that song. And then so whatever. So I put it out, and then I just get dragged into this Kendall Hialeah shit. It's all good. I don't mean to harp. I don't want to talk about that any more than I need to. And but the first song that I wrote after dropping that album, there's a part in there where I say something about blood sport. It's like going inside is a blood sport, so I stay inside of my van. Damn, but before I split, I'll kick it some more. Split like an ocean in front of Moses, or two horses forced to play tug of war, tied to the torso of someone poor. Right? This weed is strong. That's blunt force, and I keep going, right? But think about it, like split like an ocean in front of Moses, or two horses forced to play tug of war, tied to the torso of someone poor, right?
Right.
So think about that visual, like two horses.
That's cold. That's cold.
And right, and then Kendall Hialeah starts to happen, and I got a call one day from someone in Miami hip hop, Orion, and he was like, "Yo, I just want to ask," because he's assembling the 20 local artists to put on his curated playlist representing Hialeah, whereas H2O was doing that. He was accumulating 20 songs from 20 different artists from Kendall, so that when they have their versus battle, you can see what part of town breeds more rappers, right?
Right.
I mean, breeds better rappers, excuse me. That was the point of that, right? And I told Orion, I'm like, yo, I moved around so much. I spent equal amount of years in Kendall as I did in Hialeah. I spent equal amount of years in both amongst my bouncing around. And I'm like, so I feel like I just rep Miami as a whole, and I don't really want to get involved in that. I just put out this album. I kind of want to just focus on this album, right? A Time Away. And he's like, all right, but when did you decide you wanted to like be a rapper? And I'm like, Hialeah. And he said,
but by the way, these are two different towns. Towns, you'd call it towns?
They're different, like smaller cities in the large metropolis that is
got it.
Mecca, that is Miami.
Got
right?
it.
Kendall and Hialeah, right? So and then like from Kendall, like they were trying to claim me as well. Not H2O specifically, but just Kendall has, because everyone shows love to each other, but this was like combative mode.
Right.
And so I kind of felt like I was being tugged on both sides. and I was living in a van, and I was poor as shit. You know, so it's just pretty funny how like that just kind of tied in symbolically. I don't know. It's just mad trippy to me when I think about that. But yeah.
Were you even in Miami when that was going down? Because I'm about to ask you about living on the road, but were you in Miami when that was going down?
Nah, I wasn't. I was in North California. I had just gotten off probation, and I had saved up enough money to get the van and like all the audio and video gear and the solar panels and the whole van life thing. And right when I got off papers, like the lockdown happens
Right.
because of COVID, right? The lockdown happens. So I'm like, I'm not about to stay any more locked down than I just was, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So I just left. I was a free man. I got a van. I got my dog. I got my music gear, got my audio gear, and there's no traffic. Right?
Yeah.
It's like it's
Oh,
like
that's amazing. No, that's amazing.
you know, it's like
That's crazy. Once in a lifetime opportunity, actually.
it's like a boat that's tied to a dock on a very, very, very windy day. Like,
Right.
come on, and ships were made for sailing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long did you live out of the van for?
For like 5 years.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah,
Um,
for like 5 years.
so so what did you do over these 5 years? Obviously, you recorded a shitload of great music. You know what I mean? We're gonna get into what I think is your best album, not to take away from your other ones, Death Valley. But what were you doing for those 5 years in the van? And was it a mission to create music, or it was just music was to keep you busy, or
Word. Well, no, music wasn't just to keep me busy. Like music is 24/7 on my mind. It's just the way my brain is. It's the firmware that my brain downloaded, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean?
right?
Uh, but I drifted a lot. You know, I drove across. I had already driven across the country before I got the van, like 10 times, right?
10
10, 12 times. I had
times?
gone
That's
from
crazy.
Florida to California and back, and variations of that. I just did a lot of zigzagging. And sometimes I zig when I should have zagged. But that's another story of a series of stories. But in the van, I soul searched a lot. I drifted a lot. And I allowed myself to back to untangle my karma, you know, and get in the good graces of the universe again. Balance out the math, my checks and balances of my life. And and and, and music was like the medium that I chose to journal. You know,
Yeah.
I chose to journal my life with with music. I made my own beats. You know, like I documented, you know, the adventures, and so that one day, if I'm found like dead in my van, and they, you know, like at least my story is documented
So
for
so
anyone that cares until they auction off the SSD drives. But yeah.
so I had an experience. I was like 25. I just took off to Europe solo for a month, backpack by myself. So I kind of understand the mentality. But did you end up finding what you're looking for?
Yes, I found. I definitely found what I was looking for. Uh, yeah, word. I don't know what it is, but I know I found it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving along, like, you split your music into different chapters, right? You told me like you got the life chapter, the death chapter. Can you tell those in attendance more kind of what that's about? Because I think it's pretty interesting to divide your music like that.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Uh, word. So like my first 6 or 7 years of dropping projects, I don't know if I had a name for that chapter. It was probably like, or I like to see them as like sagas. You know, I've completed 3 sagas, which was the first one was the Fish Bowl. You know, all you knew was Miami, like 4 or 5 projects, 6, maybe 6. I can't remember right now. Of Miami Art Morera, right? And then it began the first cross country trip. So it's like the ocean, right? That's the second saga. If I had to think of a way to describe it, and then you know, a bunch of shit in life happened, and the remorse that I felt made me feel like it put in perspective my mortality,
Right.
and I started to think a lot about death, like a lot,
Right.
and in all different ways. Like, I mean, I started to, as life happens, right? You don't really experience death. Once you start to experience death, and you experience the loss of a loved one, let's say a family member or like a friend, and you start to really assess like mortality,
Right.
because you'll watch it in movies and hear it in stories, but until you experience it for yourself, experiencing loss, and you start to kind of look at things a certain way, and I started to think about death like a lot. Like, the album cover for I Was Here is a graveyard. You know what I mean? Like, something about just the concept of death made me appreciate life so much more with my reacquired freedom when I got off probation. This is, whatever. And
Yeah.
so I started to write from the perspective of like, remember me, like posthumous sounding songs from someone that's still alive and well. Like, I'm the only living artist that drops posthumous albums.
So where your new album Vanessa, which dropped, I think it was earlier this week, where does it fit into this? Is this the end of the death chapter? Is there a chapter after death, or this is the last chapter?
Um, this is the last. This is the last entry of the death era. You know, because Vanessa, she no longer worked. Like, Death Valley made her die a slow death.
Right.
But you know what? Best $2,000 I ever spent. That's like $400 a year. I paid $400 for a year of rent for 5 years.
That's crazy, man. What's the pros and cons living out of a van, man?
Um, the pros is freedom. The cons is judgment.
Yeah.
Uh, there's way more pros than there are cons, and it is life on hard mode. It'll test your attitude way more than a more stable situation will ever test your attitude. You know,
Right.
um, yeah. Um,
It's amazing.
I feel
It's an
like,
amazing adventure.
yeah, like the adventure that the adventures that I like subjected myself to gave me subjects to write about.
Yeah.
Feel
Did,
me?
did you feel like you ran out of shit at that point, like before hitting the road,
That I
or
ran out of.
uh, ran out of shit to talk about?
No, never. Yo, I could write a song about, like, it's like freestyling when someone says, "Throw me a word," and they're like,
Yeah.
"Novels," and you're like, "Hey, yo, novels. I need a pen so I can jot though. Or maybe I
Right.
should talk about when I found this fossil. What happened to the world at the time? It was colossal. You just. It's like a magnifying glass on a subject. So I'll never run out of things to talk about. But I feel like what I ran out of was like, before the van, I ran out of like self-esteem.
Right.
You know, and I feel like moving into a van and just grabbing life by the horns and just no longer caring what, you know, as much, I guess, about any specific thing, and just kind of focusing on the road ahead while riding to a beat that's on infinite loop
Yeah.
with a dog that doesn't mind the music because he's so focused on the view and like catching a nap right quick. Like, it just felt like a little heaven, and I wasn't really going through hell. anymore, you know. And the highway kind of felt like driving on the highway with mountains on the horizon, with a beat playing at a low to moderate volume, start going 70 miles an hour, began to feel like my bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, driving on the open road to music, one of my favorite things to do for sure. And in terms of like detaching from things, sometimes you got to detach yourself for an extended period of time to really start feeling the detachment. You probably
Sometimes you
agree.
have to detach to reconnect, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's a good way of putting it. So, moving to Death Valley. So you drove out to Death Valley. Where is Death Valley? Is that in California or?
It's in like Southern California, right at the, you know how California kind of does this like capital J kind of thing, like bends.
Yeah,
It's like in that part where where it like bends more inland. That's like where Death Valley is.
got it. So you drove out to Death Valley, a desert. I watched a good part of your docu-series about the creation of that album and just that trip. And but I think it's no coincidence it's my favorite album of yours. You must have wrote it under the most stress. Is that a fair statement? You know, like do people tell you that's their favorite album and are you surprised?
Uh, I get told that it's like one of their favorites. You know,
Got it.
it's. I feel like I get told. I don't know. Like, but yeah. So it was stressful at first. The first song was stressful to write because I had just gotten there, you know, and just it was the first like night in the desert because the night before I was in a parking lot still getting there. You know, it took me like 2 days to get there from how high up the state I was. I didn't get to Death Valley till January 3rd, and I began on January 1st, and the goal that I set for myself was, you know, I just left my job at Cookies, the marijuana company, and I'm like, I'm gonna drive back to Florida, and I'm gonna give myself till the 12th, which is my birthday, January 12th, to drive across the country and write an album about being inside the desert. So I'm like, let me go to the desert to make this album right quick, and then I'll give myself like a week, and 4 or 5 days should be enough to make the rest of the trip, right? And the first night was like the scariest, most uncertain night of them all. But
Right.
something about just having the beat on loop and having my dog with me and having like a little bit of weed and a light to not be just in the total darkness was calming, and it was therapeutic. It was an amazing experience. But then after that, the songs started to just kind of come out. You're like, you know, you wake up, you make a beat right quick, and then you look at the map, and you're like, oh, let's go to Badwater Basin. That sounds good, right, Morty? And he'll just look at me and be like, I
Yeah.
gotta pee, and I'm like, word, let's do that,
For for me, I watched some of this footage that you took. Again, it's like a docu-series around the making of this album, and like you're doing super regular shit. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like nightfall, and you're sitting there at your laptop. And by the way, to those that don't know Art Morera, the dude is a super wordsmith, produces, does video. So he's recording a fucking album, looking for samples in his van in the desert in the dead of night, man. And then seeing you find these loops for some of my favorite songs, and then seeing you start rapping is like you transform from like a regular dude in a van to like a super MC, man. It's pretty interesting to watch, actually. So, yeah,
that means a lot, man. I would love to be able to do that for every album. Like, I would love to be able to like announce to like my audience, I would like to make an album, pick a spot, buy the album in advance to fund the trip. Let me go there and make it right quick and come back with an album and a whole docu-series of the making of it.
yeah.
Funded by y'all, and y'all get it. You know what I mean? You know what I
Fund
mean?
me,
Like,
go fund me.
yeah, not a GoFundMe. Come find me.
Right, gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
So 2020, you had an album called Time Away. You care to get into that at all? Like just high level, what that
Sure.
was about? I think you kind of
Yeah.
mentioned it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about it.
So what I think that was about your time, I guess brief time, probably felt like a lifetime in prison. So did you want to tell us, like, did you create that album before going in or after, or what was like?
Well, I want to say the making of that album started when my life took a turn that resulted in deep remorse. And for the next 5 years, while I worked, I would put out, like, in the meantime, projects. You know, I'll put out like 1202 and, like, you know, Transit City and Good Grief and Buena Gente. But all the while working on those projects, I was writing songs that wouldn't go on them because they're going on this like apology album in a way,
Right,
right?
right,
And it took 5 years to finally complete it, and it took me like so I'm you know, like because if you hear the album, it starts off and those songs were before I got arrested, and then you have like the middle of the album of like when I was dealing with that, and then the last third of the album is like what my life was like after that, up until I got free and like drove back to the Northwest and like kind of decompressed.
yeah,
You feel me?
yeah, man.
Yeah.
What I think you told me you spent like 3 months in there, and you said like it affected you to this day. Like, how does your time in,
It was 4 months.
prison affect you?
Yeah, it was you know what I'm saying? Every day counts, let me tell you.
Yeah,
Sheesh. Uh
yeah,
nah, bro, like well, I learned that you know, there's some things about myself that I need to work on, definitely. Um we don't realize how our decision making affects those that care about us. Really taking to put some perspective, the ripple effect
right,
of what we do with our free will. Um, Also, I learned that not everyone in there is a bad person, just a good person that did some bad things.
right.
And, and yeah, like I don't like not every memory in there is bad, you know. Like I was in the wing that I was in, because it was like a big building with a bunch of wings. Like they had this like basketball tournament, and we won, right? So when the dude Q, his name was Q, hit the last shot and like made it, we all ran to the center of the basketball court and started jumping up in joy because we won the whole tournament, right? And for like 20 seconds, we felt, I felt joy. And
Wow.
and then like right after like 20 seconds of us just celebrating, you just hear the guards, all right, that's it. Time to go
Shit.
inside.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? So but yo, that's God though. I feel like God conditions you for the life that you want in ways you may not expect it to arrive. Like I learned from that experience how to deal with tough crowds at a rap show.
Right, right, right. Like it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so want to get into a quote of yours. I'm going to quote a lyric of yours. I just want to highlight, like, you're super introspective. You focus on the little details in life. Like when I was actively rapping, like I really couldn't rap like that, you know, or maybe I could do it here and there. I think not everyone can do what you do. So I'm just going to do a quote just to get a sense of it. So I think a prime example of this is your tune Rags to Riches. By the way, you have a barcodes breakdown of this whole thing, but I'm just going to quote a part of it. Um, and this is about you, I think, working in some Alaska, like, fish factory, like cutting up fish all day and shit like that.
Yep.
So you're like Alaskan stickers on classic trucks, knack-knack drifters, back pockets with a flask of liquor, bad workers who wear a mask and snicker, hard workers with cramps and blisters, happy with tobacco canisters, Human resources administers ibuprofen and a caffeine mixture. That is a magic elixir. Take a breather, man. That should fix ya. Mosquito on the back of my neck whose needle feels like catfish whiskers. I mean, you just really get into like the fine details. What do you think allows you to see such depth in what you write about? Again, I don't think everyone can do it.
That was a good recital, man. Thanks for doing that.
I think I butchered it a bit, but yeah.
That was dope. That was fucking tight, man. High five, yo. Man. Well, look. You know, bro, it's kind of wild how it happens, dog. Because I'm just so full. I'm so in it when I'm doing it, and then I look back and be like, it just feels like I turned into a werewolf, and I'm like, what did I just do? What's all this blood on me?
Yeah.
You know, but bro, like, you just, it flows through you. Like, mosquito on the back of my neck, whose needle feels like catfish whiskers.
Keep going into the hook if you remember it. Because I love the trans.
Mosquito in the back of my neck, whose needle feels like catfish whiskers. Compassion for addict hipsters. Subtle dress them as mister when the work shirt fabric stenches. Donate them or trash them bitches. Hit up a Planet Fitness. Cash my checks, then I'm back in business. I call this rags to riches. Rags to riches.
Bro,
it's the hardest.
You literally walked from the factory to the gym, you know what I'm saying? Getting money for the gym. And like, that was a crazy visual because I've worked in the factory a couple times, some brief stints. And when I heard that, it like took me straight back there, man. That was crazy.
Yeah,
so.
like it's just, I feel like just the joy of like finding the perfect rhyming word to describe creatively what you're saying. And then sometimes you'll later realize that another thing you said that didn't rhyme, there's a variation, another word that you can replace that with that rhymes with the main rhymes, and you're like, oh my God. It's like trimming a bonsai tree, right?
Right.
Like even mosquito rhymes with whose needle, and catfish whiskers, canister administers, caffeine mixture, like, and so it's you know, like mixture, fixture, like with the X, you know? Like,
it's picture perfect.
It's just so fun. It's the greatest, bro. And then it's not just finding the perfect rhyme, because it starts with the rhyme, right? Like, so I'm there like catfish whiskers, and then I lean back, and I start being like catfish whiskers, catfish fishes, fashion fishes, national fishes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I start to try to find fashion fishes, having this. Addict hipsters. Ooh, addict hipsters.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's like, oh, how can I contextualize this rhyming word? You know, how can I make use of it? Because I'll think of perfect, like literal perfect rhymes that have nothing to do with what I'm talking about, and I won't use them.
Do you remember that whole Aurora Borealis sequence? That was like super descriptive. I don't
Which
know
one? How does it go?
It was the second verse. I don't know, but you were describing like the scenery in Alaska where you're working. It's crazy, man.
It's DJ XS is spinning. Where are you going? Ah, ha, 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 ha. Woo! Probably somewhere snowing under the Aurora. Alice in my laboratory. Wake up. What is it? Laboratory. Smile, keep my aura alluring. Wake up with a morning glory in this Alaskan horror story. There's greasy
was crazy, man.
Yeah,
bro. I never like that song is hard, man, and it's about you working in a fucking factory hacking fish all day, bro. I never thought I'd hear a rap song that hard. You know, that's a one of one. You know what I mean? As far as my listening, so
like and those shifts were like 16-hour shifts.
No way.
Like 4
crazy,
hours, man. Then one like 10-minute break, then 4 hours and a half hour, then 4 hours and 10 minutes, and then out. So I'll just be rhyming to myself with the earmuffs. Like they'll be playing like Britney Spears and Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I'm using their drums to keep writing the verse.
That's crazy.
You know, so yeah, it was a wild experience. Like rhyming helped keep my sanity because it was pretty wild in there.
So more things I like about what you do. So I've heard you say you rap to the hi-hat, so you really use your voice as an instrument. You also got, melodies. You have that skill set as well. Again, this is like I'm always changing my rhyme patterns when I'm rapping to change ups in the beat, but rapping with that kind of musicality, not something I can do, and I highly respect what you do. I think it's a great talent. Um, yeah, man. So I think that's about it, man. I just got a few closing questions for you. I like Taylor making closing questions for my guests,
Cool.
specific to them.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you a couple questions. Do you think you have the respect you deserve in the Miami hip hop scene? Do you care about it at this stage? Do you feel you have anything more to contribute?
I definitely have respect from the Miami hip hop scene. Um, I do feel like when I thought I had more of it, I realized I still had to earn some, which I did, and then some. Um, I'm at peace with where I'm at with Miami hip hop, and I love to see what's going on in it now. I wish everyone there well. Uh, and what was the second part of the question? It was
Do you think you have anything more to contribute at this stage to it?
I feel like everything I do continues to contribute in its own way because I'm from there and I rep it. But no, man, it's it's like it's in good hands. Like Miami hip hop is in good hands right now. So what I mean. I made my contribution and bowed out
Right.
in a way.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. You're doing your own thing now, so to speak. Um, Last question. If no one was able to hear your music or see your videos, or like very few people, would you still do what you do?
Yo, I was doing my music when I lived in the woods where there wasn't anyone there. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like this is my life craft. Like I'm always working on the next song, Like I'm gonna be on my deathbed thinking of like deathbed. Damn dog, I'm laying on my deathbed. Wish I could respond to the messages that I left read. Damn, I wish I was 50 years younger so I can get head. That's it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like I'm just always gonna be like it's just rhyming words. I'm gonna be in a retirement home, like
See now, rapping.
forgetting what I wrote 20 minutes ago, but writing something else. You know what I mean?
Got it. So, Art, this has been dope. Thanks for sharing your art with us. I've thoroughly enjoyed your music over the last 2 weeks, diving in. Um, Thank you for sharing again your art and life. I just want to shout out a bunch of people that joined. So we got H, Watch Wolves, DJ X's
Yeah.
or XS,
Yeah.
Money Mowgli. I think Shoddy was here earlier. Bunch more. Actually, what's next for you? And then we'll do just any final words.
What's next for me? I was doing some live stream YouTube sessions of me writing a verse. So I just switched up my workstation setup. I'm gonna go back to doing that. I actually have a show on Thursday. It's gonna be my first show, my first time rapping on stage in New York since I've been here. I'm gonna be performing with Homeboy Sandman for a song that we have on his latest mixtape. It's this project called I Can't Sell These Either, and we got a song on that. I'm gonna be performing that. That's amazing. That's a whole other topic, and it's a complete blessing, man. Shout out to Homeboy Sandman. And nah, bro, just next time that I have a batch of songs that represent what like where I was at when I made them, I'll present them to the people, and I would love to start doing some some shows in different spots. But at the same time, I kind of like where my life is at right now, and I'm just gonna kind of live a little bit, which will inspire the music anyway. You know what I mean?
Dope. So listen, everyone, go peep Vanessa, brand new album. I think it's a concept album. It'll leave you guessing till the end. I don't want to spoil it. I think it's genius. Go peep Death Valley after that. Hereafter, all amazing art, not just hip hop. It's like pure art, in my opinion. And thank you, Art, for joining. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, man. And yo, great questions, bro. I really appreciated this, and the fact that you went into with the fine-tooth comb and delved into what I put out. It just means a lot, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a lot of respect for you. I really enjoyed your Mowgli interview and your Shoddy interview, and you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
And a couple others that I saw. And bro, keep doing it, man. You know what I'm saying? This is great. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. A lot of people said, it's your time. You know what I mean? It's Art's time to get a shine. I know you get recognition, but a lot of people wanted to see this as well. So I was happy to do it. So thanks again, everyone, and have a great night.
Peace.
Peace.
Yep.